What's going on, YouTube, man? Welcome back to another video. Now, before we jump into today's video, man, you should have know what you should have been did. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We trying to save the world. We trying to save as many people as we possibly can. So make sure you hit that post notification bell so you don't get that post nut clarity, my guys. Now listen, I want to say before we jump into the video, make sure you guys are being interactive with my links down below. If you guys want to chat it up with me through a consultation, make sure you email me first with the time you want to do it, and we'll take it from there. Make sure you guys are checking out all my sponsorships down below. Make sure you guys are joining the Discord. Just tap in, man. Tap in if you haven't already. So listen, I also want to say shout out to the new supporters. Even if y'all is coming in one by one, bits by bits, I appreciate you for taking the time to hit subscribe. So I truly appreciate every last single one of y'all. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So as you guys can see, today's title is why I don't believe in the quote, focus on yourself. Whenever you tell somebody to focus on themselves, I notice that it never truly works out for that person. When you tell somebody to focus on themselves, right? It never truly works. And it's ironic that I'm making this video because the first video I've ever made on my YouTube platform, it was titled Focus on Yourself. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because, I'm kind of tired of hearing people say, focus on yourself. Focus on yourself until the money comes. Focus on yourself until the wife comes. Focus on yourself until your dream life comes, right? I'm tired of hearing that. Instead of telling people to focus on themselves, we should be telling people to focus on God. Focus more on God. Because when you tell somebody to focus on themselves, it sounds pretty selfish to me. You telling somebody to focus on themselves is like saying, block everyone out, remove all your friends out of your life, stop dealing with people, right? And just be selfish and just put everything to yourself. It sounds pretty selfish. Now, when you tell somebody to focus on God, the difference with telling somebody this is that you now have God's strength. When you're telling somebody to focus on just solely themselves, they're going to become weary eventually. They're eventually going to become weary. And I'm not saying that you can't become weary on your walk with God, because all of us, most likely 9 times out of 10, have become weary one time or another on our walk with God. So I'm not saying that you can't become weary on your walk with God. The only difference is when you focus on yourself, you're going to grow weary because you done already cut everyone off. You done already blocked all your family. You done already blocked everyone that you was close with. You done already blocked out all the things that you were doing. And now it's just only you. Right? Now it's just only you. And the devil can use this to his advantage. Right? It could actually be to your detriment when you're isolated for way too long. Now with God, you have his presence. You have his strength to persevere. Even if you feel lonely, even if your emotions start to kick in and you're like, dang, I wish I had some friends. Dang, I wish I had a girl. When those feelings come or arise, when you have God and you're focusing on God, his presence alone will make those feelings and emotions dissipate. And nothing is wrong with being lonely. Nothing is wrong with wishing you had a girl. Nothing is wrong with that. That's That's normal human feelings, right? But telling someone to just solely focus on themselves is kind of a detriment. And now let me break this down. When I was saying that, you're just cutting everybody out of your life, you're just doing this and that. When you tell a person to focus on themselves, they're going to cut everybody out their life. Doesn't matter if they're a good friend or a bad friend, they're literally dropping everything. They're deleting their social media, they're deleting everything. They're just going cold turkey. Cold turkey. And how are you ever supposed to prosper if you just automatically all at once just throw everything in? You throw the social media. You give up all your friends. You give up every little thing that you was doing. Now, when you have God and you're focusing on God, his spirit alone will lead you into knowing, okay, maybe cut this friend out your life. All right, maybe start limiting the time that you're on Instagram for. Maybe start limiting the time that you're on social media for. Maybe start reading the Bible more. Maybe start reading this book more in your idle time. All right? Maybe start praying to me more. Maybe start praying to me more and asking me to develop you into the man that can potentially be a good husband to a woman. Maybe start praying to me more about that so I can start to mold you. This is the difference. When you're telling somebody to just focus on themselves, what about in their idle time? What if they don't have God in their life? Right? They might end up back on the sites, and then they're going to feel so bad about themselves because you're telling them to focus on themselves. Focus on yourself. Don't focus on anyone else. Just try to build your wealth up. Just try to build your life up and not add anything else into the world. Right? I believe that you can focus on yourself while also having healthy relationships. I truly believe that you can focus on yourself and still have healthy relationships around you. Right? When you focus on God, God is going to pluck certain people, situations, or things that you normally are accustomed to doing. He's going to make things more better. When you solely tell somebody to focus on themselves, they're now isolated. And there's nothing wrong with being isolated, but when you're isolated and you're too overly focused on yourself for way too long, that can be your detriment. Because then after that season or period is over, you're going to feel like you don't need anybody. Right? And that's where that selfishness is going to come in. You're going to feel like you don't need anybody. You're going to feel like, oh, I worked on myself. I built this. I did this on my own. So I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody's help. Right? I built this up by my own. I don't need anybody to help me out. And that's where focus on yourself becomes a detriment. So am I bashing focusing on yourself? No. Am I saying that it's completely wrong to focus on yourself? No. But I feel like it's context. Focus on God. Focus on God and he will show you who you need to get rid of in your life. Focus on God and he will show you, he will put certain qualities in you to make you question yourself. Should I stop partying? Should I stop smoking? Right? You can't do any, and that's another thing. You can't do any of these things by your own strength. And that's the whole point of this video. When you tell somebody to focus on themselves, you're basically telling them you can do everything on your own strength. Just focus on yourself and everything else will come. Just focus on yourself. But when you focus on God, that is when he can now use that to show you and put you on the right path. Right? It's a difference between focusing on yourself solely and focusing on God. Because maybe when you focus on yourself, you might think every single body is bad for you. Every single, little thing isn't good for you. But that's why the Bible says it is not good for a man to be alone. It is not good for a man to be alone, right? God will keep you in isolation, but he won't keep you in isolation for too long. And I personally believe that if God keeps you in isolation for too long, he's probably trying to open your eyes to something that's taking you longer than it normally would for somebody else. Maybe your journey might be different from somebody else's journey, and this is why you probably still haven't found a wife yet. This is probably why your life seems like a constant cycle, because you haven't learned or come to the realization of what God is trying to show you yet. And that's okay. But this is why you have to focus on God, because he's now going to lead you the right way. Instead of focusing on yourself, you feel like you can do everything in your own strength. And this is why I don't solely put my trust and focus on yourself, because some way later down the road, you will fold, you will fall, right? You will become tired and weary being alone. You're not going to have no connections. You're not going to know how to make connections in the real world, right? I remember when I first got on the SR journey, I was taking it serious. Like, I wasn't communicating with no females. I wasn't really building relationships like that. And it just so happened that my communication skills, it dropped, just because I was just taking the rhetoric of focusing on myself, to where I forgot that it's other people in the world. It's other relationships that I can be, trying to build. Right? I don't have to solely just focus on myself and just shove everybody to the side, because you're now going to put yourself in a position where you're limited. You're no longer going to have the social skills as if you were, still focusing on yourself or still focusing on God. God is allowing you to build healthy relationships now. God is allowing you to start doing the right things. God is allowing you to bring and to let go, the bad and the good. That's the difference. So I hope this video makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, explaining this concept, it was a little tricky for me, but I hope this video really makes sense. A lot of people might not agree with what I'm saying, but I just hope this video resonates, even with one person. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys took something valuable or learned something new today, make sure to drop a like. Comment down below your thoughts and opinions. I really want to hear what you guys got to say. Share this video with a friend. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'll catch you in the next one, and I'm out.